This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
Good morning, Sam. It's Monday. A new week is upon us, and I've already lost my mind 5 seconds into the show. How are you, Sam?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I have had better mornings, but you know what?
That's all right.
We press on, Sam.
That's why. You know what? We're going to make it work.
Absolutely.
We're going to get through this. I'll walk through it with you. I'll hold your hand if I have to.
You probably will need to, and
That's
probably
right.
coddle me as well, just because
All right.
I'd like to just keel over and cry at times as well. But we are here, and we are back and better than ever. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. We are here every Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, live right here on Spreaker.com and on Periscope. Good morning to all of you watching us on Periscope. Great to see you all. Sorry you're kind of getting like the half shots of us there just because of where our laptops are, but you get a general concept of who we are. And besides, you listen to us for our soft, silky voices, not for our beautiful faces. Although I did do my hair this morning, so
We do have a good face for radio.
that's what I've been told. Similar to you with having a good body for radio,
Yep,
Sam.
thank
So
you.
we are both on point this morning with our facial and
Ooh, there we
bodily
go.
issues.
We're
as well.
good.
We are. We're very good. Kind of like we're really good on social media as well. You can get us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show, and on Twitter you can get us at BG Sports Show. I'm at Baxter Colburn. Sam is Samuel_Wallace 2, and Grant is Grant's Rant BGSS as well. Our producer Danny Hoffenstein does not have a Twitter, so
Not yet.
Not yet. But one day the Hoff is coming. It's kind of like brace yourself, winter is coming.
I tweet about him all the time. It's
You
great.
do. You're
I
Twitterless Danny. Oh yeah,
I do.
We tweet about you.
Mostly to our mutual other roommate. So
Yes.
yeah, it's been
I don't
wonderful.
believe you.
You're gonna have. Well, if you got a Twitter, you could find out for us.
Well, this is your ploy to get me to have a Twitter. It's not going to work.
I'm not saying it's a ploy. It's just more of a guilt trip because we did that to Connor Christensen for a while too, and he finally got it.
Look how well that works.
Well, Connor is just when it comes to doing anything that's outside the norm, Connor's like meh. So anyway, but if you get a Twitter one day, we won't. We'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe
Danny.
one day.
It'll be a mass announcement.
Probably when Twitter's no longer relevant.
Probably.
Be like, oh, I should probably get a Twitter.
That's how most people do it. So
Yeah.
well. Anyway, all right, Sam. Well, the NFL. We need to get to it immediately because otherwise we're gonna lose our mind here.
Yeah, well, more than we've already lost it, but that's okay.
Exactly. But you know what? People still love us. And the more important thing is that Jesus and our moms love us. That's what really matters.
That's so true.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's take a look at I'm not surprised by this week's action,
Why not?
but I am surprised at the same time because
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, because I'm not surprised because at this point, 7 weeks into the season, we all, as NFL fans, should know that there is absolutely no reason that the NFL should be this backwards, upside down. But we look at it, you shouldn't be surprised because it's the NFL and anything can happen on any given day.
It's so true. It is.
I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, you said there's a lot of surprising things that happen, but at the same time, you're like, with everything that has happened so far this year, is anything really surprising anymore?
yes.
Maybe.
I mean, the fact that there's been some crazy, chaotic games. I mean, nobody predicted the fact that, that was good. Well,
For the record,
Yeah,
I did call the Saints to beat the Colts.
you did, and I have to commend you for that because I was like, no, the Colts will be fine. They battled to the death with the Patriots. They'll be back. They'll be looking for blood. It'll be great.
It was in Indianapolis. They had everything going for him, but I'm sold on Drew Brees. I like him. He's a good guy. He plays football well. He's got cute kids.
I think he'll go places in his career. Watch out for Drew Brees. That'll be a name, folks. That'll be a name to
Someday.
Keep an ear out for that man, Drew Brees. Yeah, I mean, what else? I mean, look around the NFL. I mean, Atlanta won 10-7 yesterday against the 1-5 Titans.
Just continuing to slug out victories.
Atlanta just doesn't even deserve to be that good. I saw a meme yesterday in regards to the Patriots. They're like, yeah, woo, we're 6-0. And it's like, calm down.
Calm down. You beat the Jaguars. You almost lost to the Jets.
Yeah, exactly. You beat an injury-ridden Colts.
Yeah.
It's just true, though. I mean, yeah, sure, they've looked good. They've looked overall dominant. They haven't played down to their level of their opponents. But even still,
Yeah.
New England still, I mean, we talked about it last week when we were buying and selling our undefeated teams. I mean, we both bought the Patriots, but even still, I'm beginning to look to possibly put them to auction sooner rather than later.
It's true, and Danny and I were talking this morning a little bit prior to the show, and we were saying how there really just doesn't seem to be a dominant team anymore. I mean, yeah, the Patriots, they're 6-0. They're just kind of walking over the league, but at the same time, they just have some hiccups and some glaring deficiencies in their team that might cause them some problems later in the year, and the same thing with the Packers as well. They're undefeated. They're just coming out of the bye week now, and they go to Denver next weekend to play another undefeated team. But at the same time, just had some really close games that we feel shouldn't have been as close as they were.
Yeah, no, I'd completely agree with you on that one. I mean, looking else around the NFL, there were some crazy games yesterday in terms of blowouts. The Dolphins, they they scored 41 first-half points against the Texans.
Special shout-out to Ryan Tannehill.
Whoop, whoop.
18 of 19 for 282 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just a near-perfect performance.
I saw a stat yesterday that said the Dolphins had a total of 5 touchdowns before the Texans had 5 total offensive yards.
Yep.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I was talking with Corey Plath yesterday, one of our good friends of the show, and I said, Corey, at this point, if I'm Houston, I need to say, look, J.J. Watt, I love you, but you don't deserve to be on this team anymore, so we're going to trade you for 5 draft picks. Because
he's worth that.
He is. He doesn't need to be on Houston anymore, because if I would feel honestly bad if I was the Houston Texans head coach and having to put up the best defensive player in the game and continuously just have him be on a team that gets manhandled week in and week out.
Yeah.
You could trade him in a second, and almost any team would drop 3 to 5 draft picks for him in a second, and maybe throw in a player or two also.
And probably some cash.
And probably a lot of cash.
Probably a lot of cash.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think JJ could be so helpful for pretty much any franchise besides Houston.
We'll see. Once maybe the middle part of the season starts to roll around here in the next month or so, there might be some talks going on of teams that are looking to fill gaps in their defense moving forward. We'll see. Yeah.
No, I'd agree with you on that one. Let's see some of the other games last night. The Raiders came storming into San Diego and just pounded those Chargers yesterday, 37-29 yesterday. What a good game from Derek Carr.
Yeah, Derek Carr and Amari Cooper had a great game as well. It was fun to watch them. And again, the Chargers, I saw a quote that they are in a nosedive over the last few weeks. And Rivers, came out throwing again through almost upwards
threw for 336 yards and 3 touchdowns yesterday. He threw 58 passes.
I was going to say, I knew he threw for almost 60 attempts, and that's just, man.
Yeah.
That's
it was
a lot.
It was, the last 2 weeks for him have been crazy.
When you start to become one-dimensional like that, it becomes easier for defenses to crack down because they don't have a great running game.
Yep.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon's been hurt a little bit. Danny Woodhead is a great check down back for screens, and that's when he gets a lot of his points and a lot of his yards. It's on things like that. Like, he owned that last drive by the Chargers and ended up getting their touchdowns.
Yeah, Danny Woodhead was crucial for that aspect of that
But
game.
as far as a power running game, the Chargers don't have that.
No.
So when you have to rely on Rivers to air it out every game, like I said, defense is all they really have to do then is put 4 or 5 up in the box and then just drop back into coverage, and it's going to be a lot harder for the Chargers to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you talk about another team that had a pretty dominant performance yesterday. I mean, this team is 4-2 now. It is the Minnesota Vikings. They won 28-19 yesterday against the Detroit Lions, so take that for what it's worth. But Teddy Bridgewater looked really good yesterday, didn't he?
The best Teddy's looked all year, potentially in his career so far. He looked just very poised in the pocket. Yeah, he was sacked 5 times, but he was able to.
He got hit a lot last night.
He was able to make the throws that he needed to make, and he made good, safe throws.
He did. Yep, he made 2 touchdown passes last night. One of them to the rookie Stephon Diggs. Did you get a chance to see that diving catch that he had?
I did, and I also had Stephon Diggs on my roster this weekend, so that was wonderful.
Well done. Yeah, I saw Teddy throw. I was watching that game live a little bit, and I saw Bridgewater just throw that ball up, and I'm like, who's he going to? And then I saw Stephon Diggs running after it, and I'm like, oh, he overthrew him, and then he's like, whoop, and dove and caught it. I'm like, okay, Stephon, I see you.
Yeah,
it was a good win for Minnesota. They're 4-2. We're going to talk about them a little bit later on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay and Washington, 31-30 game in that one. Washington with the victory. Kirk Cousins tosses 3 touchdowns, goes 33 of 40 yesterday for 317 yards.
Another great performance from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, it was. It was a very good performance. Doug Martin, 19 carries, 136 yards out of the day for him. Washington's 3-4. Tampa Bay's 2-4. Washington's 3-1 at home, though. That's the one fact that I do think a little surprises me.
And the Redskins have found ways to play competitive. I mean, it took Atlanta till overtime to beat the Redskins.
Which is sad.
It is, but the Redskins just kind of are that annoying team that's like deceptively good, but not quite, but they do just enough to make it interesting. So
They got to give their fans something to cheer for, because if they were too good, their fans would freak out.
It's true.
I just find that interesting. Isn't it? Anybody else find it interesting that the team that's in the nation's capital is one of the worst in the NFL? I feel like there'd be some extra money tossed around there just to help make the team better.
Oh, well.
Well, not enough about that. Anyway, Jacksonville blew a lead but came back to hold on against the Buffalo Bills in London, 34-31. Blake Bortles doing okay yesterday. Allen Robinson had a good game. Allen Hurns also. T.J. Yeldon ran for 115 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's 2-5. Buffalo's 3-4. Who's the better team? I know that yes, Jacksonville won yesterday, but
Yeah.
out of these two teams, who's the better team with their records right now?
I think Jacksonville still is. I just like what they're doing on offense with their tandem of wide receivers, and Yeldon is starting to look more competent in the backfield in his rookie season. And and Blake Bortles has had he's strung together a very nice set of games here. We'll see if he's legit still moving forward. The Jaguars still have to start winning these games.
Yep.
You can't just win by the stat line, but
Yeah,
at the end
he
of
got me 13 in fantasy yesterday. I was a little
Yeah.
upset about that, but it wasn't awful. It's not a terrible performance, a little less than the averages for a starting
Yeah.
quarterback, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Looking also, the Chiefs beat the Steelers 23-13. Alex Smith finally threw another touchdown, so I'm sure that was kind of a weird out-of-body experience for him.
Must have been.
It really was. He was like, wait a minute, what did I just do? But that still helped. That was enough for his team to win. As we mentioned, 23-13. Chiefs now have 2 victories on the year. Steelers dropped to 4-3 on the season. They're looking, hopefully, to have Ben Roethlisberger back next week, is the rumor.
I really hope he comes back.
That is the rumor.
That would be great.
St. Louis also grabbed their 3rd victory of the year. They took out the Browns 24-6. Todd Gurley went for over 100 yards again, 128 yards and 2 touchdowns.
His
with the
first
rookie.
2 touchdowns, actually.
Yep, he's looking good. Gary Barnidge, too, that Cleveland tight end, he had 6 catches for over 100 yards, so I'm sure some fantasy owners are happy about that as well. And then the Patriots beat the Jets 30-23. I guess say what you will about it. It was a good game. Tom Brady tossed 2 touchdowns, ran for another one,
Finished as his team's leading rusher.
which is just weird.
Yeah.
You know it's weird. You know it's a bad day on the ground. Anytime a quarterback that's not Michael Vick back in the day
Yeah.
outruns everybody else on the team, I get worried. I get very worried.
Well, the
So that-
Patriots, like we've seen before in previous years, they drop such a unique game plan every week, and
They
they'll
do.
find new ways to beat you.
Yeah.
They might have a guy go off for 200 yards rushing in one game or 200 yards receiving, and then not even play the guy the following week. You just never know exactly what they're going to draw up.
Yep, exactly. We have somebody on Periscope here asking us Cardinals or Ravens, and we're actually going to be previewing that game in our 4th segment. So if you want to hang around, if not, if you have to take off, I'm just to save time for you. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Cardinals in the desert. It's going to happen.
Whoop, whoop. All right, and last 2 games here before we shoot off to a break. Giants took out the Cowboys. Giants go to 4-3. Cowboys go to 2-4. They're 0-4 since Tony Romo has been hurt. The Giants didn't look terrible last night. They got some really good breaks from the Cowboys, being Cowboys. Last night.
Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie had 2 picks. One of them he brought back for a score,
Which is sweet.
Yeah, and then the Giants also got a touchdown out of their special teams unit as well. So
Yeah.
there's 14 points that did not come from the offense, and Eli Manning didn't look great.
Still hasn't.
Didn't throw a touchdown. It's the 2nd week in a row of a single-digit performance at fantasy, which is leading me to consider maybe finding a different
Trade him.
route.
Drop him.
We'll see.
Like Bortles for Eli.
We'll see. We'll see.
And then the final game, Sunday Night Football. The Panthers remain 6-0. How crazy is that? They won 27-16 against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are now down to 3-4. Panthers are 6-0 at home as well.
Yeah.
So, thoughts about that game at all, Sam?
Not a flashy performance out of Newton. It was the first game he's won that he threw 3 interceptions, but their power running game was really, really impressive. Jonathan Stewart had 125 yards on 24 carries, and Cam Newton did just enough to keep the Panthers in the game.
Absolutely. Well, this is the first time in NFL history that there are 5 6-0 teams, so something to consider about that. All right, we're going to step aside for a break. We'll be right back. This is the Baxton Grant Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
All right, Sam, as we continue to rock on and roll on here. Oh, that was very abrupt. All right. I was enjoying the music, and then it was gone. Oh, well. Sometimes you just got to kill the music, I guess. Kill the mood. You're throwing off my groove. Anyway.
Beware the groove.
All right, Sam, it's time for us to talk about what teams we think are done for. Zip, bam, pack it up, forget about it, start planning for next year, pack up shop, move your franchise to L.A., just donezo.
It's a rebuilding year. That's how we always got to put a spin on it.
Yes.
Got to put a nice spin on it.
They're not as good as they were last year. They're rebuilding this year to get back to their hallowed ways.
Yeah.
So you have about 4 or 5 teams, Sam. I've got about 4 or 5 teams as well. Some of our teams might be the same, but
Probably.
Let's start in the AFC first.
Does your list have the Cleveland Browns on it?
My list does have the Cleveland
All right,
Browns
good.
on
Yep,
it.
we're off
Yes.
to a good start.
We are. Well, the Cleveland Browns, they're 2-5 through the first 7 games. They're not looking good at home or away. They're 1-2 at home, 1-3 overall, 1-3 on the road. They are 1-0 in the division, which is weird because that puts them in an awkward position to possibly still make a run for the division title.
It's weird. It always comes down to that division record.
That's the weird part about it. I mean, just look at Carolina last year. That's the best part. That's the best way to describe it. They're doing an okay job, but with Josh McCown and company, they're not. Overall, it's just not looking like a good product overall. I mean, Gary Barnyard is doing everything he can at the tight end position. Travis Benjamin at wide receiver, but. There's just not a lot of high production, and I think some of that does stem from the defense also.
Yeah, Josh McCown left the game yesterday with a shoulder injury, and Manziel had to come back into
Johnny!
play. Let him play, coach.
It just needs to be at that point where you just need to put Johnny in and just say YOLO.
As far as the quarterback situation goes, regardless of who plays, I just think the lack of consistency is not going to help the offense at all.
They can't make up their mind what quarterback is going to start week to week.
Just having to readjust from the offensive line perspective, from a running back receiver perspective, anything. It's hard on everybody when you don't know what to expect every week.
Absolutely. I mean, they lost their opening game, they won their second game, lost 2 in a row, won, and then lost 2 in a row again. So history would tell you that they're going to beat the Cardinals and they're going to lose to the Bengals and the Steelers.
Yeah, they're not going to beat the Cardinals.
No, it's really not going to happen, honestly. Let's see who else we have. My next team, for me at least, is someone that I think is still in that division, the Baltimore Ravens. They're 1-5. You'd like to think that, Joe Flacco, they're doing good. No.
John Harbaugh.
No,
I like John. I really do.
I do. I mean, the Harbaughs are some of my favorite people out there, regardless of what people might think about them. But Baltimore's defense has looked like the Browns' defense. They've looked terrible this year. Where has the dominant Ray Lewis striking fear into the pit of your soul defense gone for Baltimore?
I just feel like there's not even guys on the team sometimes when they play.
Yeah.
There's just nobody out there. People are just running over them.
They've just looked embarrassing. That's the best way to put it. They are one of the worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
All right, who else you got, Sam?
My next team I have up is the Detroit Lions.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Detroit 1-6 on the season. Haven't won a game on the road all year. They're 1-3 at home. They've been outscored by their opponents 139-200. They're on a 1-game losing streak. I mean, Detroit, they lost to the Vikings yesterday. Who really can blame anyone for selling on the Vikings this year?
Yeah, again, there's just too much going on there. They just don't bode a whole lot of confidence moving forward with their organization. It has been nice to see.
They've got the weapons for it, at least offensively, with Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate and Amir Abdullah and Eric Ebron. Like, you can list off some quality players, but no one's putting it together.
No, it has been nice to see Calvin Johnson find the end zone again the last couple of weeks. And early in the season, he really wasn't producing at all on the offensive end, but they haven't been able to establish a firm running game. Yeah, they got guys that could run the ball, and they spread it around between Joique Bell and Amir Abdullah and things like that, but no one is really consistently getting the carries. No one's being the workhorse of the team and getting the job done on first and second down.
Yeah, you got to have that. And another team I think that kind of is in that same boat is the San Francisco 49ers. I saw a headline yesterday that Colin Kaepernick feels like he's on an island in the 49ers locker room, which is very true. It's not Revis Island. It's just an island.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
It's not. And when I was watching the game last weekend Thursday's game, when they were playing the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
And watching Kaepernick on the sidelines, he didn't look excited. He wasn't engaged. He wasn't talking to guys, on the bench. He was just kind of standing there by himself, staring at the field. I'm like, he almost had that Jay Cutler look to him, just an open, empty look. I'm like, no. He's too talented. He's got a lot of raw talent.
He does.
He does. He just can't put it together. I don't know if he needs a new environment, if he needs a coaching change again. I don't know.
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I just think that he had so much success right away like right when he came into his career, he basically was like a godsend for the San Francisco
Yeah.
organization. Like, look at me, I'm awesome, and everyone was like, "Oh, Colin."
The honeymoon phase is over.
Exactly, the honeymoon phase is over. And now you realize, oh shoot, I actually have to put the work. I actually have to do the dishes. I have to do the laundry, and I'm not going to get in trouble if I don't. It's like it's one of those things. And
He can't just rely on his physicalness to, outrun and outjuke and just outthrow people. He actually has to be a pocket passer.
Exactly.
He's got to
he's
study
got
film.
a good arm. I
Yeah.
don't think yes, he still is a little awkward at times, but I think he has a powerful arm that if he works on it a little bit more, he can be a
Yeah.
fairly decent quarterback. Anybody else on your list at all, Sam, for the season?
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1-5. I mean, they're not looking like the Tennessee that let's be honest, they're the Tennessee that we all know and love. 1-5. The really terrible part about this, Sam,
Yeah.
they're only 2 games out of first place.
There we go.
2 stinking games.
Telling you, it's anybody's game.
They
right
could win
now.
1 game and be in second place in their division.
Yep.
That's just terrible.
And having Marcus Mariota go down with his MCL, we'll see how
Mary
long.
Mari.
Yeah, we'll see how long Mettenberger can actually stay in the game and get things done. But
You want to know a great thing also, Sam?
what's that?
Is that the Colts, who are in first place, are 3-0 in their division, and they've lost all 4 outside of their division.
Yeah, they're
games.
3-4 in first place. But
Yeah.
again, it's the division that counts.
Because they've beaten all 3 divisional teams.
Yep. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do to get in.
It's just awful. All right, one more team for me, Sam. I might go on a bit of a limb on this one, but
Limbs are good.
it just helps me move on a daily basis.
There we go.
The one other team that I think is Dunzo toast. Well, I'm gonna go outlandish on this one. I'm gonna say that the Buffalo Bill season is done.
Ooh, really? Why?
I think the fact that they've struggled so much through the first 7 games and that they couldn't win in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know that Jacksonville is traditionally not a very good team, but Jacksonville has kind of stepped up their game this year.
They have.
I feel like Buffalo's played down to their opponents, and it's really hurting them. And I'm not buying what Buffalo's selling. They can't figure out the running game. They've had some quarterback issues with injuries as well. But even still, regardless if it's EJ Manuel, Tyrod Taylor, they sold Matt Castle to the whoever is the Cowboys now.
There we go.
Buffalo's got nothing going this year. The Buffalo's defense hasn't been intimidating, and
I thought it might be better than it has been, unfortunately. I really did.
I thought so too, honestly. But I mean, I don't even know what to really make of that. So that's kind of our thoughts about it. I don't know if you've got anybody else, Sam, before we head to a break. If not, I think we
No, that was about it for me.
pretty much got it. So if you have any thoughts or comments or questions for us at all about who your teams are, you think that are done this season, the race for the number 1 overall draft pick is huge. So let us know your thoughts. You can tweet at us at BG Sports Show, at Baxter Colburn, at Samuel_Wallace too. We'll be right back. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Let me know whenever. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
All right, Sam. It's time to figure things out and see who we think the worst 500 and above teams are in the NFL. I've got 2 teams burning a hole in my pocket that is not full of sunshine. I don't know what you've got for me this morning, Sam. You've got any teams this year for me, or this season today?
No, really, please go ahead. You start.
Really? You got me to start?
That pocket full of sunshine joke. That was not okay.
Don't you not have a pocket
No,
full
not
of, full
anymore.
of sunshine? Okay. All right. Well, my two teams that I think are the worst above 500 teams that are not obviously including the undefeated teams because that would be cruel and unusual punishment to them. The first team that I think is one of the worst above 500 teams, I'm gonna just be mean right away. I'm just going to go out with it and say the Vikings, honestly. I think Minnesota has been one of the worst above 500 teams this year. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have the protection to keep himself out of the hospital. He was on the ground more than... I think he threw for 300 yards on his ass yesterday on the ground, honestly, because he looked every other play when I was watching the game. I'm like, Teddy is on his butt on the ground making a throw. I'm like, where is the protection? This is not a good Vikings organization team this year. They're struggling hardcore. It's just I'm not sold on what Minnesota's selling this year, honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I'm gonna have to go with them, and you can do the next one, Sam.
All right, I'm going to go with the New York Giants as the 4-3 right now. They've lost a couple in a row. They were sitting okay. Oh, sorry, did I say 4-3? They're 3-4. I know
they're not above 500. Then
are they?
No, if they're
4-3.
They're 4-3.
Wow, getting my numbers mixed up this morning. Yes, 4-3. Got it. 3-1 at home.
Should have had a V8.
Should have had a V8 this morning. Bottle of water will have to work.
True enough.
But just looking again last night, yeah, they beat the Cowboys, but I don't really.
When did that mean anything this year?
I don't think the Cowboys are anything special anymore without Des Bryant and Tony Romo.
Please.
I think that goes without saying. There are too many things going on in their organization for them to really make a push right now. Yeah, Romo might come back and have some late season heroics, but I don't think it's going to be too little, too late, if anything. So the fact that the Giants put up 27 points and beat the Cowboys. Seven of those points came on a pick six.
Offense, though?
7 of those points for the Giants came on a pick six. Another 7 came on a kickoff return. Eli did not throw a touchdown. There's just, I don't know.
Eli's bad.
He's not great.
Colin Kaepernick or Eli Manning? Who you got?
I'm still going to go Eli Manning.
Yeah, that's right.
You know why? Because Eli has 2 rings, which is 1 more than Peyton Manning has.
Oh, which is 2 more than Phillip Rivers has.
Okay.
I don't know. Phillip Rivers. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other team that I think is not as good. Well, what is it? One of the worst teams I think above 500. I think. Well, I'm torn between 2, and I'm just not sure if
pick one.
Pick one. Okay, Pittsburgh.
All right.
Pittsburgh's 4-3. They won. Yes, they lost yesterday.
They lost to the Chiefs yesterday,
which is reason number 1. You don't lose to the Chiefs. And expect to still be in a playoff Super Bowl. I mean, I get it that Ben Roethlisberger comes back sooner rather than later, but look at who Pittsburgh's lost to this year. They lost to Baltimore.
Yep.
They lost to the Chiefs. And then they lost opening night to the Patriots, but that's whatever. That game was a fun game.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, I mean, they barely beat the Rams week 3. They beat them 12-6. Sounds like a baseball score. They beat the Chargers 24-20. They beat the Cardinals 25-13, which gave me an argument originally, like, oh, this Cardinals team, they know what they're doing. Or this Steelers team, they're looking good. They know what they're doing. But I think once Ben Roethlisberger comes back, this team will be better.
Yeah.
But right now, I think Pittsburgh is one of the worst above 500 teams right now.
That's fair.
Anybody else at all?
No, that was it for me. Just
okay. Yeah, I mean, so there's not a lot of teams
Giants,
that really, really stands out. I mean, obviously, you look at the Giants, they're 4-3, as you mentioned. They're not doing that great. The Vikings we talked about. Also, you could make a slim argument for the Falcons, honestly, just because they haven't looked that great. Yeah, they're 6-1, but I mean, I feel like a Pop Warner team could have won some of the games that they've won this year, too.
It hasn't looked great. I mean, I know looking at another 500 team that might draw some looks is the 3-3 Rams.
Yeah.
But the fact that, again, their defense has been doing really, really well, held the Browns out of the end zone only to 2 field goals. Not that that's any big feat, but again, they held another team out of the end zone for an entire game, which is pretty impressive.
It is.
And Todd Gurley is really coming into his own right now, which has been exciting to see, and scoring his first 2 NFL touchdowns yesterday.
Would you make an argument at all about the Dolphins being 3-3, about being a bad 500 team?
No, because I think they're headed in the right direction now under their new coaching regime after the start of the season. I really think they're going to start utilizing some of their weapons a little bit better now.
Like Jarvis Landry.
Landry and Lamar Miller are really going to start turning it around, and Tannehill played out of his mind yesterday, so that was fun to see.
Absolutely, well, I would agree with you on that one. All right, well, we are going to jump to another break. When we come back, it's Cardinals and Ravens. Monday Night Football. John Madden, Al Michaels in the desert. That's not it. I wish. Those were the days. We're going to talk about that and preview it and see just what these teams need to do to win the ball game. We'll be right back. This is the Baxton Grant Sports Show. Welcome back to the Baxton Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm back.
And this is Sam.
All right, Sam, before we head on to our next segment, we are also on social media for those of you that love to interact with us. We've been saying hi to some people on Periscope. Thanks for watching. You can get us on Periscope from 7 to 8 a.m. Central on Monday through Fridays. You can also get us on Spreaker.com as well from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, supposing we start on time and I actually get to the studio on time and things and stuff and life and whatever. Being married is difficult, okay? Two people have to get ready in the morning. You know, you got to do your hair, do your makeup, all those things. Hashtag married problems, all right?
Are these both people doing their hair and both people doing their makeup?
Since we're a radio show, I don't do my makeup, but I do my hair before the show because you
Okay.
got to look good somehow for the studio audience.
Yeah.
You want to be an embarrassment. Be like, hello, hello.
I mean, if you look around the studio right now, all of our fans in here are just so well dressed. So, yeah.
I mean, well, at least they all have deodorant on, I think, so that's helpful. Well, I spoke too soon.
Perfect.
Oh, God. Anyway, so we're going to take a look here at the Monday Night Football game tonight between the Baltimore Ravens and the Arizona Cardinals. The Ravens are 1-5. The Cardinals are 4-2. The game is going to be in Arizona, the University of Phoenix Stadium. The game will be on ESPN. It's going to be a balmy 81 degrees at game time.
That actually sounds really nice right now.
Sounds
not gonna
beautiful.
lie.
That sounds absolutely beautiful. Well, let's take a look here, Sam. Initial reactions of how you think this game is going to go.
I hope it's going to be closer than what I think it's going to be. I think Arizona's offense is too high powered. They're coming off of 2 straight losses, coming back home, prime time under the lights. Carson Palmer's going to have a day against the Baltimore.
Have a day, man.
He's going to have a day against the.
Did you say that the
Ravens
Cardinals
defense.
or the Ravens are coming off 2 straight losses?
The Cardinals are coming off 2 straight losses?
No,
Just one?
just one.
Either way.
That happens.
Thank you.
You're
No,
welcome.
Thank you for correcting me.
No, I just
thought
wanted
it
to make sure because I was like, yeah, the Ravens are coming off 2 straight.
Yeah. Well, the Ravens have also lost 5 games this year.
Well, I mean,
so-
take your pick, honestly. I still find it weird that the Ravens, the only game that they won this year was against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, how do you lose to the Steelers? Or how do you win this? Oh, whatever. Anyway, so the Cardinals, their 2 games, they lost to the Steelers, and then they beat the Lions 42-17.
Yep.
I think Arizona has got a good product for what they're putting on the field this year. We've seen a little bit of issues at the running back position this year just because of some injuries. Andre Ellington, Chris Johnson also. But Chris Johnson has done a good job of stepping up when it needed to be. And we've also seen Andre Ellington start to get his act back together a little bit as well, and he'll be coming back from injury.
Yep.
Chris Johnson, though, from the games that he's participated in, he's got 93 carries for 445 yards. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns. Andre Ellington has only had 16 carries this season, 139 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Also, this is obviously not the same Chris Johnson that we knew back in Tennessee when he was one of the best featured backs in the NFL.
He really was. Yeah.
And he's kind of fallen out of favor of that. But Carson Palmer this year, let's talk about him a little bit. 14 total passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's thrown for almost 1,800 yards. He's completed 64.8% of his passes as well. Is Carson Palmer someone that should be in the MVP talk right now, Sam?
I don't know if I'd go as far as MVP talk, but Bruce Arians definitely knows what he's doing in Arizona. And I think if Carson Palmer can play an entire season, I mean, we saw what Arizona was able to do last year and how their season, I think, just unfortunately kind of fell apart on them, having to go 2nd-string quarterback, 3rd-string quarterback, and they still got a lot of great things done and made a good run into the playoffs. But
Everybody that's an Ohio State fan is like, we did it!
yeah, I know.
Which is weird.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, for Carson Palmer, just having a good surrounding cast and having a good coaching staff really helps make him look good. All he has to go out there and do, I mean, it sounds simple, but all he has to go out there and do is make the throws.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, well, look who he's thrown the ball to. He's got his veteran wide receiver in Larry Fitzgerald. John
Yeah.
Brown has been emerging on the scene as a really good wide receiver. Michael Floyd has kind of come back on the scene also. So he's got 3 good receivers to throw the ball to right off the bat. Tight end wise, I mean, Troy Niklas and Darren Fellows have done all right, but neither of them have really jumped off the page for you, really. But
No, and then with just having a good defense and then having a solid running game, they're so balanced right now. I think they can beat you in a lot of different ways. And they don't have to become one-dimensional to beat you.
And so much of their defense really does stem from Patrick Peterson also. I mean, they're that shutdown corner, one of the best in the league right now. Even Tyrann Mathieu as well, or Matthew, depending on how you want to pronounce it, if you're French or not. The Honey Badger, as he goes by, has looked really good at free safety, delivering some really strong hits and making some good plays. Arizona's defense, I think, is going to be a true catalyst in how this game goes for both teams tonight, I should say.
Yeah, they're only allowing 19.2 points per game so far in the defensive end. And on the flip side, they're second in scoring at almost 34 points a game.
Yep, they're second in the league, and they're 8th overall in points against. Passing yards, they're 6th in the league with 284 yards a game. And rushing yards, they're 12th in the league with 121 a game.
Yeah.
So let's look at Baltimore a little bit here. Baltimore just hasn't been the Ravens' season. It's been so bad that their kicker had the ground cave in underneath them when they were trying to play the 49ers last week, which was just an unfortunate event. But groundskeeper really needs to get on that. Baltimore's offense, let's look at it here. They're 10th in the league in passing, averaging 258 yards a game. Rushing yards, they're 17th in the league with 111 yards a game.
I think the one thing I really do appreciate about the Ravens organization is they never seem to panic. They kind of roll with the punches. There's never a time when the city or the fans are jumping up and saying, "All right, fire the coach. We're starting over. Scrap the team. Start planning ahead." Or
that's like they're the only good thing in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's true. But at the end of the day, it's nice to see that John Harbaugh and Joe Flacco, they just kind of roll with it. They have a great working relationship. They've won a Super Bowl together, and they just do a lot of good things. And I think they know that they're better than the way that they're playing, and they're just going to stay consistent and stay steady. And if the wins don't fall their way, I don't see them jumping off the bus and freaking out. Again, like you said, it's not really been their year, but I think they're still going to be a fun team to watch.
Well, I mean, Joe Flacco has thrown 8 touchdowns in the first 7 weeks of the season. He's posting a 37.7 quarterback rating.
Not great.
Not at all. I mean, he's not looked good. He's just been looking like he just has looked bad. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I don't really know how else you can put it.
When you have a 37 quarterback rating, there's really not much you can say about that.
Yeah, I mean, this team has just not looked good from the start. And you look at Flacco, he's thrown 1,600 yards this season. He's completing 62% of his passes. Not awful.
Not terrible.
But the 7 interceptions is what is really killing them, I feel like. Well, I'm sorry, correction on his quarterback rating. He's got an 80.1. Forgive me.
I was going to say
37
sounds a little
I was looking
low,
at a stat, but I think that might have been for one
from
game or
a
something.
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Justin Forsett, though, he's had 457 yards on the ground this year and 1 rushing touchdown. I know he did get injured a few weeks back, so he'll be nursing that injury for a while as well. Steve Smith going along with that. He's looked like the younger Steve Smith. This is his last season. We know he's retiring at the end of the year.
His body's sake, I hope he retires.
He needs to. Well, he said he's going to, but he's got 3 touchdowns to his name so far, which has been good. But
he's been playing really well.
I just don't really know where you can look at this Ravens team and say, "Oh, this guy has been the shining star for this team so far."
Just lackluster across the board.
It's very, very difficult to look at anybody on this team and say that this is a good team. There's no, because even with bad teams, like sometimes you're like, well, they lost a lot of close games.
Mm-hmm.
There was this, there was that. They just haven't looked good. Yes, they've gone to overtime twice this year, and I know they lost one of those games to the Browns on a last-second field goal. But other than that, though, they lost the 49ers back in Week 6, 25-20. They lost to the Bengals 28-24. They lost to the Raiders 37-33. And they lost to the Broncos 19-13. So every game that they've lost this year, it's been within 7 points.
Yeah, they've been doing a good job of playing to the level of their opponents. If they seem to if they need to score 30 points and still lose, they'll do it. If they only need to score 12 points and lose, they'll find a way to do that too.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the part that bothers me about it. It's like, well, just how good is this team?
Hard to say.
And that's the hard part about what I'm struggling with also is so
I think either tonight will confirm what we think we know about the Ravens or hopefully surprise us. That would be fun.
That would be nice. Yeah, I mean, look at they have got Arizona tonight and then they play San Diego next week and then they finally go to their bye week, but the rest of their season, though, I mean, they're home against Jacksonville, home against St. Louis, at Cleveland, at Miami, home against Seattle, home against Kansas City, home against Pittsburgh, and at Cincinnati.
Yeah, they got a tough stretch going down.
How many games do they win realistically going forward?
I say they get 5 wins this year. That's going to be
5 total wins, so they'll get 4 more wins to finish out the year. Yeah. Do they surprise anybody? Do they beat Seattle?
I don't think they do.
No?
Seattle has a tendency to really get hot at the end of the year and put their pieces together that they've lost in the early part of the season. But yeah, I mean, if the Ravens can get 4 more wins, I think that's going to be a win for them.
Now, I'm going to ask you this in terms of going back to Arizona for a moment. You're looking at Larry Fitzgerald, a guy that's played a very long, hallowed, famed career. Does he retire at the end of this season, or do we still have another maybe 2 or 3 years with
I think he
with the
comes
dreadlock
back.
man?
I think he comes back.
You think he does come
I
back?
do. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
I think it would take the Cardinals to literally win the Super Bowl and have him just be like, you know what? I want to go out on this
he's
note.
32, though. He's played in the year for 12 seasons. I feel like at some point as a wide receiver, you need to be like, all right, I want to be able to walk for the rest of my
I
life.
think the resurgence that he's had in this season is going to help a lot. He was not really considered to be a top either fantasy prospect or a top wide receiver option, but he's got 583 yards receiving. He's got 6 touchdowns through the Cardinals' first 6 games. That's good. He's in the running for one of the top wide receiving candidates of the season just based on the stat line, and I think he's going to continue to come back.
Well, I'd agree with you on that one. I mean, look at his overall career numbers. First of all, I mean, he's had 952 receptions. He's had over 12,000 receiving yards, and he's had 95 receiving touchdowns.
Exactly.
He'll hit that 100 touchdown mark this season, no question about it.
Yep.
Now, is there looking at anybody else here for Arizona? I feel like this team overall. I feel like Arizona is going to be the team that walks away with this game. If they lose this game by less than 10 points, I would be shocked. Or if they win this game by less than 10 points, I'm sorry. If Arizona doesn't win this game by 10 or more points, I would be very surprised. I just feel like what they're putting out on the field is superior to what Baltimore's defense is capable of stopping. And Baltimore, I think they'll get on the board probably twice tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 14-point game for Baltimore. I think they'll maybe score twice. Flacco's going to find the end zone somehow.
Yeah.
But Arizona, I see them hitting high 20s, if not low 30s in this game.
I think if Arizona just plays within themselves and doesn't try to get too extreme with their game plan, they are more talented across the board. They're more talented. They have way more skill that they can put on the field than Baltimore. If they just play within that style, they'll be fine. I think if they try to do too much, they might be able to shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. They might rack up 500 yards of offense, but just have drive-killing penalties or turnovers, things like that. So they're going to be able to move the ball. They just need to finish.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so what is your official score prediction for the next game tonight, Sam?
35-17 Cardinals.
35-17. I was going to go 31-14 in favor of Arizona tonight. So let us know your thoughts. Remember, you can get us on social media at BG Sports Show, at Baxter Colburn, and at Samuel_Wallace 2. We'll be right back. This is the Baxter Grant Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Backs and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Got a little r in there for it sometimes. Just, got to have fun with what you do. Because if you're like, Radio America, it's fun. You got a Radio America. Woo! For those Hispanic listeners, you got to, cater to all demographics. I could do the entire segment. Bienvenido a el Backs and el Grant Deportes. I don't know what show is. Anyway, I tried. Anyway. It's Monday. Connor Christensen's here. It's time for his fitness tip. Good morning, Connor. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you?
Muy bien. Gracias.
Muy bien.
All right.
You too?
Muy bien.
It's like all I know from
That's
Spanish class in
¿Dónde
high
está
school.
el baño? Whatever you know, as long as you know where the baño is.
Yeah,
that's
that's
you
very
can be in
true.
any
Yeah.
Spanish-speaking country. As long as you know where the baño is, you are miles ahead.
That's very true.
Very true. All right, Connor, what is your fitness tip for us today, sir?
All right, today I'm going to talk a little bit about stress and exercise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could use that. I need a good talk.
So I myself have been in the mode back in high school and even nowadays where, you stress exercise. You exercise very heavily when you're stressed to relieve your stress and
Yep.
you feel better. I'm going to condone that, but with caution.
Okay.
One thing I used to do because it hurt me so much was running. Running hurts me so much. I can't stand running because it hurts so much. And so when I'm very stressed, I would go run. But I noticed my arms were going numb while I was running.
Sounds like a personal problem.
It was. I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I realized that my shoulders were in a constant shrug the entire time, and it was cutting off nerve innervation throughout the rest of my arms.
What a
So I
word.
had to just drop my innervation.
Innervation.
Oh, wow, what a word. So I just had to drop my shoulders, and then, I could start feeling my arms again, and then it was really good. So the mode that I'm going to talk about in relieving your stress, definitely go and exercise, but the most underrated thing in regards to fitness is massage.
I enjoy a good massage.
Most people do.
Yeah.
And people forget that, you go into the big gyms and you see like the massage tables out and everything.
Yeah.
And it's not just there for, comfort and
Decoration.
convenience. It's not just there for that. It actually has a physiological purpose.
Oh, my.
So you go in and people who, when we're stressed, we tense up, we bring our shoulders up, we tighten up, and then you'll hear stories of people who will start to cry during a professional massage, and that's because when the massage therapist releases the tension in the muscle, the psychological stress that was put in that muscle tightening was released as well, and they can't cope with the psychological aspect of it. So a lot of times you'll find that people who are physically unwilling to release that stress need the physical stimulation of the massage in order to get that psychological stress out of their mind. It's kind of like something I heard. This full cup is really heavy, or it's really really light, right? So this full cup of water, 8 ounces of water is really really light.
Sure.
But if I hold it in my hand for a day, my arm will feel like it's going to fall off.
Yep.
And it will shut down, and eventually the cup will be too heavy for me to lift. So you have to be able to put the cup down. Don't forget to put the cup down. And that's kind of what this massage is. It's your brain is, you're putting the cup down. You're putting the stress down. You're getting the stress out of your muscle.
Interesting.
So my fitness tip today is go get a massage. Go at, friends, family, whoever is, hey, I'm really, really stressed. I could use a shoulder rub, neck rub, really get that tension out. And the neck and shoulders is where most people are very, very tight.
No,
So-
I'd agree with you on that one. I mean, that's something that I've had a good experience with, getting massages, and I think one of the things when it comes to massages is finding someone you feel comfortable with as well,
That's
because
very
anybody
true.
can walk into a room and say, "Oh, I can give a massage." Well, yeah, that's great. You can, you can push my skin around and my muscles around for a few hours. That's great now,
Yeah.
but
there's actually like different techniques and different ways to get stress out. Like if you give a massage with how the muscle fiber goes. So like, for example, your bicep runs from your shoulder down to your elbow. The actual fibers run in that direction. Now, if you massage out the length of the fiber, that is how you get muscles to relax.
massaging with the length of the
Yes.
fiber. Okay.
And doing it the other way causes a lot of heat. It gets really deep in your muscle. So if you have really, really thick knots in your shoulders, for example, you would do it the other way against how the muscle fiber is moving so that you can get deeper into the muscle.
Interesting. Okay. Now, is that something with your career that you will possibly dabble in? I know because you're looking for a few different things.
I actually would like to get involved in that. That's further down the road. I want to do personal training, athletic training, and then maybe kind of transition into a massage route. But I have had some experience with that. With my physical therapy internship is where I learned most of the massage aspects of things. And because they actually do that, their patients there with the physical therapist for 45 minutes, and they do stretches, and then they usually do massage as well.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I got when I was getting physical therapy for my foot, is they would spend the first probably 10, 15 minutes just massaging my foot just to like release it, all the stress and pain with it, and then be able to work with it better that way, because it was more receptive to, what exercise are we going to do now? You've relaxed it. I actually am going to want to do the things you say.
Exactly.
Which is great, and that was something that was very helpful for me, and I've heard that with different athletes too, that if like, I'm going to the physical therapy now, but I'm going to go get a massage. It's like, well, that's
professional athletes. I am willing to bet that all professional athletes get massages on a regular basis. They have to.
Yeah, they're under, I feel like, way too much stress. And you think about, what they go through on the field and everything else. But there's a lot of extra things that go into it to being just a professional athlete, just looking as a whole. Having a massage would be helpful as well. So, all right, well, Connor, we appreciate you stopping by today, sir. And congratulations, your Vikings won.
They
over
did.
The weekend.
They did.
So that's huge for you. So 4-2, second in the division. Feeling good going forward?
I feel good cautiously. I want the offensive line to start doing something.
That would be helpful.
And I need Teddy to start being more accurate.
Yeah.
If those two things can happen, I am very confident.
I think it starts with the offensive line being
exactly.
Being
he needs confidence.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Connor. We appreciate you stopping by. Special thanks to Sam Wallace as well for his continued co-hosting here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. A lot of great things coming up for you tomorrow. Grant will be back. We're going to be talking about the World Series, checking in to see what happened with Monday Night Football, and Grant will have his rant, among many other things as well tomorrow. Also, remember, if you do want to catch us, you can get us live from 7 to 8 a.m. Central right here on Spreaker.com and on Periscope. Thanks for all of you that watched us on Periscope. You can also get us on Sports Radio America from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time on sportsradioamerica.com, live 365, and tune in and on demand anytime you want on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on Spreaker.com as well. And when you flip over to the social media side of things, you can get us on Facebook at The Bax and Grant Sports Show. Twitter, we are at BG Sports Show. I am at Baxter Colburn. Grant is at Grant's Rant BGSS. And Sam is Samuel_Wallace2. And Instagram, we are also at BG Sports Show. And if you ever want to shoot the show an email, you can get us at bgsportshow@gmail.com. Thanks again to Sam Wallace and Connor Christensen. And our producer has been Danny Hoffenstein. I'm Baxter Colburn. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Enjoy your Monday, everybody. See ya.